Summertime's here, right? So we've got vacations, we've got spending time outside, we've got a lot less obligations when it comes to school and homework and all that stuff. But I want to talk about something that's really important at this particular phase of life, your child's nervous system. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because a lot of times we get people that come to our office during the school year and they say, hey, I'm really busy. I can't get started with care right now. Like my kid's got choir concerts and basketball games and has all these different activities and piano practice and recitals, all these different things, right? All these different things that add up and build up over time. So we just can't handle doing this amongst all of our other kids' things that we're doing right now. And the cool thing is, when people come to our office during the summertime, yeah, you have vacations planned, yeah, you have outdoor activities planned, all that different stuff, and maybe even some sports activities still too, and extracurriculars. But summertime really is the best time because your schedule opens up dramatically because there's no more school, right? You're not bound to that 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. school schedule. And so you can actually come in the morning to get adjusted, and it makes a big difference for a lot of kids and your schedules to be able to do that. So it just really opens things up. And so it's really one of the best times to start chiropractic care. Starting just habits in general. We should really be making New Year's resolutions at the beginning of the summer as opposed to at the beginning of January, right? Because you don't have all those other obligations that get in the way of you being able to create new habits. You can develop these habits now, and then when the schedule starts to change back to more of a school schedule, then you can actually shift and adapt those habits within that framework of school to be able to get things done. And so getting adjusted is huge, and making sure your kid's nervous system is intact and communicating well is huge, and now's a great time to get the ball rolling with that. So let's talk about why it makes sense to get adjusted during this phase of life and during this season of the year. Not only is the school year packed full of stuff and activities, but kids really have to operate in more of a survival mode all school year long. So they do have the assignments, they have the homework, they have the expectations, they have all those different things, and that shifts a kid into a higher fight or flight state, which is okay, right? It's pushing them to learn and grow and develop in that educational way and in that mindset type of way. But when we remove that whole factor, it takes the stress that their nervous system is under and decreases it a little bit. Everything in life is a stress. There's good stress and there's bad stress, right? And school stress is a good form of stress, but sometimes it can be overwhelming for your kid's nervous system. The adjustment is also a form of stress. It's a good form of stress. It's a directive form of stress. And getting adjusted during the school year is great, but it can definitely have a overwhelming impact if your kid's already dealing with all those things, right? And so when we remove the schooling schedule and everything during the summertime and kids start getting adjusted, they go from this overwhelmed state to, still living life and having fun with vacations and all that stuff. But their nervous system can actually receive the adjustment really, really well. And in some cases better than during the school year because they don't have that total load stress. Chiropractic care is really more effective when stress is lower. The body just becomes more receptive to it. The next thing when it comes to summertime is there's summertime symptoms, right? Nervous system stress signals. A lot of kids do really well during the summer. They're just happy as can be. But because there's a fun environment, there can also be some emotional outbursts, some defiance, right? Because they want to keep on doing the fun things. Or because the days get longer and it's daylight longer, kids will have trouble sleeping even though they're tired, right? And they've worn themselves out throughout the day because it's either light outside still or they want to continue to have the fun stuff that happens and have the fun activities. Because summertime comes with a little bit freer diet environment in terms of there's a less rigid schedule. Some kids will struggle with tummy issues, or they might have more sugary treats during the summertime like popsicles and ice cream trucks and cotton candy at city festivals and popcorn, right? That sort of stuff. And so getting adjusted helps with that as well too, to keep their digestion regulated so they can avoid things like constipation and issues with their stomach. Another thing is sensory issues from the overwhelm of traveling and having a bunch of outings, right? It's a great time to get out, but when you travel and you don't sleep in your own bed in your own room, that can be stressful. It can also be stressful just not being in your regular environment. And so getting adjusted before those visits and trips can make a big impact on how kids respond and how they handle trips. Another thing is sometimes your kids will have meltdowns because the routine has broken up, right? So you would think, oh, school's over. Yes, finally. But a lot of times that actually stresses kids out because they don't have the regimen, they don't have the routine, and it causes more meltdowns and outbursts. The other thing is because kids are at home a lot, sometimes there's a little bit more screen time, even though they could be playing outside, or they're just tired of being outside because it's too hot. And so that post-screen time crash can be significant as well too. These aren't just random symptoms, they're signs of a nervous system really that's dysregulated because, hey, the schedule and the environment just is a little bit different than it was before. The third thing, and really the most important thing and valuable thing for parents, is that it helps them build resilience before school returns. So a lot of parents want their kids to come to the office because they want them to perform better in school and they want them to be less stressed out with the school environment. But again, that adding just one more thing, adjustments to the total load, just spills them over the edge, and it can be overwhelming from a schedule standpoint or from an adaptation standpoint. And so summer really helps us build a runway for a stronger foundation so that when they get back to school, they can focus better and they'll have good sleep and they'll have emotional balance and immune strength and adaptability to change as the schedule changes back to school. Because they're not doing anything else, we can add a little bit of good directive stress to their nervous system so that they can have fewer issues when fall routine ramps up again. So this is one of the biggest reasons why people start care in the summer, is because they want to be able to support their kid when the fall time comes around and when school ramps up again. So because it's early summer and we want to be able to set families up for a huge success when it comes to their kids' nervous system health and for their fall time health when they get back to school and for their educational success, all that stuff, is we're actually offering 3 VIP passes for any kids to get their nervous system checked. And what that includes is a full consultation, neurological insight scans, sometimes x-rays. Typically for kiddos we don't need them, but if they were, that would be included, and a detailed report of findings. Typically to come into the office, this is close upwards of $200, but since you're getting the VIP offer, if you're one of those 3 people, it's just $100, and it's a way for you to figure out, hey, what's going on with your kiddo's nervous system? How can we set them up for success in the future? And it's an amazing thing to see, and to see those changes. We love seeing kids succeed in school. We love seeing them succeed in having an enjoyable summer. The other thing is, since we're here, we'll offer 3 VIP passes for kids, but we'll also offer three VIP passes for adults as well too, so that you can get your nervous system checked with your kids. One of the things that we find is that kids and parents, if they get adjusted and get their nervous system taken care of at the same time, healing goes better for all of them. I just want to encourage you parents to take action while it's still early in the season so that your kids can be set up for huge success when it comes to school. All right, see you guys later.